Oh, welcome back to Game of Fangs and Thrones. My name's Hannah. I write books and occasionally I read them too. This is my December wrap up. So, in December, I read 6 physical books and an ebook. And just because I don't have it to hand, we will do the ebook first. And I'm not rating these or anything like that. I'm just going to tell you what I thought about these books, if I liked them and if I'm keeping them. So the ebook that I read was Crown of Earth and Sky by Emberly Ash. This is a fae inspired retelling of the King Arthur myth, in which King Arthur is killed in like the first chapter. So it's your bog standard romantasy. We follow Vika, who is the twin who is not supposed to be. She's the twin of King Arthur. And in this world, you have your elemental phase and your terrestrial phase. And to keep balance within the world, the terrestrial fae have to send an heir to wed the elemental fae. On the eve of the ceremony, King Arthur is, I think he's prince at this point, he is murdered, and which pushes Vika from the shadows, where she has always been, to the forefront. She is now queen, and it's basically her story of figuring out who and why her brother was killed, who she is now and what her purpose is, and also Aaron. Now, Aaron is the terrestrial male who has been sent over to woo and marry the queen. It starts off as very much as enemies to lovers. I wouldn't say it is true enemies. They definitely get off on the wrong foot and go from there, but in terms of the smut, it was very well written, but it didn't start, it sounds like a complaint, but it's not. It didn't start until like 50% of the way through, which I appreciated because these characters got to know each other and things. The attraction was always there, but I think it was built upon organically. So I enjoyed that. The first book was free on Kindle, and I believe that at least the next 3 books are on Kindle Unlimited, so I will probably be checking them out. Then, these are in no particular order, by the way. I read The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. This is my Illumicrate edition, and I enjoyed this. I'm on the fence about whether I'm going to continue or not, but I did enjoy it. This is a South Indian inspired tale following the Princess Malini, who is imprisoned by her dictator brother, and Priya, who is a maidservant with a secret. Now, in this world, you have the temple, and Priya was a temple child. She was gifted by the temple, which means that she is not particularly human, but that's what they need. A couple of other temple children survived when it was thought that they didn't, and Malini and Priya, their paths cross and they become close. Now, I think this is adult, and the romance between Priya and Malini was just, yes. It was slow, it was sensual, they got to know each other. There's a theme going on here where I like slow burn, or friends to lovers. I kind of like enemies to lovers too, as long as it's done right. But anyway, yes. So this is a very intricate world. It's an empire on the brink of destruction from within. Priya is fighting for freedom and to save the children of the city who are affected by this rot. And Malini just wants revenge on her brother. She wants the real heir, which is her oldest brother. She wants him to come back from the monastery and take his rightful place as king. And it is very, well, this quote says it all from Alex E. Harrow. An intimate, complex, magical study of empire and the people caught in its bloody teeth. And I love the intricacies of how the Indian culture and language is woven into this as well. It was very well done in my opinion. I'm still on the fence about whether to continue with the series or not. Could someone let me know if they think I will enjoy the next 2 books in this. Then we have a sequel, which I can't really talk too much about with it being a sequel, but this is Touch of Ruin by Scarlett St. Clair. This is book 2 in the Hades and Persephone series, which is basically St. Clair's take on the Persephone and Hades myth, set in a modern day world with New Athens, New Greece. Persephone comes to this world as a journalist, escaping her mother, and in this one, Hades is a kind of like a nightclub dealer, he's not mob boss, but he does own a very successful nightclub, and is a bit of a sensitive soul, but he makes deals. That's how he gets his power, that's how he gets his souls. But this is obviously the sequel, and I said, to be honest, it's not the greatest reimagining ever. The world building, I think, is quite lazy. However, the writing is compelling. Persephone is major dumb bitch energy at times, but she is endearing. And yes, this is another one where it falls into the trap of Hades being sensitive. He's not all that bad, but I ate it up. I have a soft spot for the Perseides, there we go. We're just going to call it Perseides myth. I have a soft spot for the Hades and Persephone myth, because my first fantasy romance was by PC Cast, and I think it was like a touch of, it was her Goddess Reimagined series. Let's just have a look. Goddess of Spring. That was my first proper romantic fantasy romance, but I have a soft spot for fantasy romance around Hades and Persephone, and you know, people who are not what they seem. But yes, this is the fallout from that. The relationship has now gone public. We're seeing more of the different gods come into play, I think, as well, as Persephone is slowly moving away from the mortal life into her immortal celestial side of things. What I like about this one so far is that Persephone doesn't have any powers. So it's an interesting one, but I will be carrying on with this series just because, you know, they're fun. Oh, pardon. A book that was decidedly not fun is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sequel to Ninth House, which follows Alex, or Galaxy Stern, as she navigates her way around the secret societies of Yale University. These secret societies deal with, I'm calling them secret societies because we all know Yale has its true secret societies, but these are the ones that go under those secret societies, so secret. Many times I'm going to say secret in a sentence. But yes, Alex is offered a scholarship to Yale in the first book on the condition that she pledges to Lethe House, which is sort of like the policeman of the underbelly, the Magic Society policeman. And in the, I can't quite remember what happens in the first book just because it's been a while and I'm scared to give you spoilers. But this is the fallout to that, and I can tell you that Alex is caught up in another murder mystery where members of the faculty are being killed off, and they're not accidents. So because of the events of book 1, Lethe House is depleted, their numbers aren't great, so she pulls in Dawes, whose title is Oculus, who's more like a researcher, into the front line, and you know, it all goes tits up from there. And Bardugo has a very interesting way of mixing the fantastical with the real. She blurs that line very well, in my opinion, and I think she is an auto-buy author at this point. I've read the Grisha trilogy, I've read Six of Crows duology, I've read King of Scars, but I have Rule of Wolves up there, and I'm going to read it. Then we have a little contemporary romance, which is Christmas Postcards by Karen Swan, and I admit I think half of my enjoyment from this one was because of the time I read it. This starts with a flashback to Natasha's Hindu, where she meets what's his name? Where she meets Tom at Centre Parcs, of all things, and it is told in alternate between Natasha, present day, a guy called Duffy, present day, and this Hindu in the past. What happens is Natasha is now a mother in her present day timeline, and what starts the story off is she's coming back from a once-in-a-lifetime trip with her husband and her daughter. They have a stop off in Prague where unfortunately the daughter's beloved cuddly toy is left behind. Duffy, being the next person in that apartment, that flat, picks up the toy and it becomes his lucky talisman as he is traversing the Andes. And what follows is a very touching story of how Duffy bonds with a child that he has no idea about through a series of email snapshots, which Natasha and her daughter call postcards. And while Duffy is on his spiritual journey to put some demons in the past and that kind of thing, Natasha is dealing with a marriage that is failing. And yes, I think I vlogged this one, but yes, I did see some of it coming, but you know, it's still hit in the feels, and I think it's concentrating so much on it. It was different for me, and I think I have more luck with these types of stories when I pick them up, when I find something that intrigues me, because I don't read them as much. So we'll keep, as much as I enjoyed this one, I will be unhauling it just because I don't think I will reread it. Then we have The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi, and I am so sorry about the reflection, by Shannon Chakraborty. This is the first in her new trilogy, following an older character who again is a mother. But this one is Indian inspired again, following Amina Al-Sarafi, who is an infamous female pirate who has retired from that life in order to live out her remaining years with her daughter and her mother. But that is not to be when the local noblewoman of the city finds Amina and tasks her with finding her granddaughter, who has run away with a Frenchman. That's pretty much the gist of it. However, as we go into the story, we realise that Amina has had dealings with demons and with magic, and as we realise that, the story actually takes us from the mortal world into the magical, which I think Chakraborty does do a good job of. I just want more of the magical element. I think I had the same problem with Daevabad trilogy, where I was very invested in the story at the beginning, and because it wasn't given as much of the magical element as I particularly wanted, I struggled until the second book, where the magical elements were more pronounced. And I think, going by past experience and my feelings on this, I will probably feel the same way. So I'm going to keep this for now. I'm definitely going to pick up the sequel, just because I know I really enjoyed the Daevabad trilogy, despite the way it started for me. So yes, I will keep an eye out for this. And then, last but not least, I read A Dark and Drowning Tide by Alison Saft, and this was cute. She says about to talk about a murder mystery. But yes, this was a sapphic tale. Very, I'd say more light academia than dark academia, following Lorelai and Sylvia, who are both outsiders to this new empire. And if anybody else has read this, tell me where I'm getting this from. But I got German, Austrian vibes with a bit of English countryside mixed in, especially when we were in the university side of things. And then it moved to like German, Austrian when we went exploring. I don't know where that came from, but I'm not complaining. And I also thought the way Saft wove in the Jewish representation in Lorelai was very interesting. I'm not Jewish, so I can't talk about whether it was accurate or not, but I enjoyed it. It wasn't heavy-handed, and it fit with Lorelai's perspective, her character, and the world. So that I enjoyed. I'm not sure if I was just expecting too much from this book or not, but I wanted more. I mean, my edition, with it being the Little Great Edition, has a creature here and a creature here. And maybe this is on me, but I was expecting it to be more like Emily Wilde's I'm Looking There Because It's There, where that has a plot, but it also has more of these creature interactions. They play more of a part. And maybe it's because these ones were kind of unintelligent, and I don't like unintelligent creatures. I prefer a bit of sentience and a bit of... But anyway, I enjoyed it. And I guess I don't know if it was just because I was expecting too much, but it was a nice little palette cleanser, especially because I think I read this one after I read Hellbent, but I'm not sure. So it was a nice palette cleanser. It was a little bit lighter, and it was a cute little academic rivals to lovers sapphic story following Lorelai and Sylvia. But I'm still confused about the ending. I'm not sure. But yes, this. Now let's get the thumbnail. So yes, and don't expect these wrap-ups to be as long as this in the future. It's just I took a couple of weeks off from writing to let the story settle, to let the manuscript settle, and while I did that, I read. So I read all of this plus a Kindle book, and I didn't DNF anything, and I pretty much enjoyed everything I read. So I'm going to put these down. But with that, it's the end of the video. Give it a like if... Oh, my novel, A Little Piece of Magic, is available to purchase on Kindle Unlimited, ebook and in physical form. The link is down below in the description. My second book, the sequel, From Witches and Wolves, is tentatively penciled in for a February release, and as always, details of that will be down below as well. So if you like this video, give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see this, talk about these, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.